Hi there. So yesterday I got um there I have two subs. One of them is me, like my laptop. I went to my laptop and subscribed to myself, and then the other is like my right now like my best friend, you know. But I think at the same time like an online best friend, you know. And um even though it's just two subs, I realized that all of a sudden I started looking at myself like the moment the when I checked the sub and it was like sub number and it was like 2 subscribers. I felt like a cool person all of a sudden. I was like imagining myself as a cool person. I was like, wow, I'm so cool. I'm the person like people think as cool, you know. But then before that, when I was in school and nobody looked at my face, because they saw me as a shame. They had that mindset for some reason. That was like the vibe in the air. Like I was ashamed. Nobody looked at my face. And when they didn't look at my face, that was like a favor they were doing to me. Literally, that's how they felt. And when that was the case, I would always think of myself as weird. I would always think of myself as when you imagine yourself grown up, you know, that's something that people who are stuck in the future would do. I was stuck in the future because the present was just not good, you know. It was just school and home and school and home, and school wasn't good. Nobody liked me, you know. Whatever. When I was not liked, whenever I imagined my future self, I would imagine myself as like a weird, like just in the corner watching people. That's how I imagined myself to be. But then when I got 2 subs, suddenly when I tried to imagine myself in the future, I was thinking of this very cool person. Everybody's looking up to her and stuff like that, you know. And so I realized that like we're so weird, like we're so whenever we think of ourselves, the way other people see us is literally like such a big factor, you know. So I thought that was funny, and I'm gonna make a character out of that. I was thinking of a clown. Whenever I think about this character, a clown comes up to my mind. Their name is I saw like a name. What was it? Carl. Carl. I don't know where Carl, which, you know how like Tom came from Thomas and stuff. I don't know where Carl came from. What the short version, what's the long version of Carl? I don't know. But yeah, Carl is the name I'm gonna go for. There, the reason why I'm thinking about as a clown is because probably, you know, because of the makeup, you know, you can always change the makeup. So they're a clown. I mean, they're actually whatever you want them to be. So one time they went to an audience, and the audience wanted him to be a clown because they thought he was very funny. You know, he was walking on the street, he looked at people seeing him very funny, and then he decided to get a clown job. He went, became a clown. For a while, people loved him like that, and he, every time he thought about himself, thought of a clown. Literally, even off stage, he would think of himself as a clown. He would be like, in this earth, the place that was given to me, like the kind of a person that I was supposed to be was a clown. But then one day people didn't like him. One day people thought, you know, he grew up a bit more. You know, he started looking cool and stuff. People were like, wait a second, you look very strong, because he was working out and stuff. And then that's why he went ahead and became like a talent man. You know, like talent man, like in a circus you have like men who like juggle things. I think it's called a juggler. Yeah, he became a juggler basically. Or no, weightlifter. Yeah, in between the performances he just would lift weights to impress. He lifted weights. People really liked him. That's how people liked him. For a few years, that's how it went. And then people stopped being interested. And he thought, am I not interesting? And he basically went ahead and became a cashier in a shop because that's like the most boring job ever. So he thought, I'm not interesting. I'm a boring person. Let me just do it. Or he became like a librarian. Yeah, he became a librarian. He became a librarian because he thought, I'm not interesting. Let me just become a librarian. He became a librarian for a couple of months. Then he was like reading a book while waiting for people. The book that he was reading seemed to be a very, like, it was a book about like magic and stuff. One person saw him and they were like, wait a second, you're like, the book that you're reading is so interesting, you know? Or you know what happened in the library? He was very bored, so he decided to do like a magic trick to his co-workers and stuff. And his co-workers got impressed, and he went ahead and became a magician. He started doing magic tricks, impressing people. You know, every time people got impressed by that, he became more and more towards that thing. Let's say that they loved his card games, he moved more into the card things. Let's say that people loved his way of disappearing and reappearing things, he moved towards those things more. You know, until 5 years later, he looked in the mirror and he was like, wait a second, what am I? Like, what am I? I mean, I'm a magician right now, but in general, what am I? Who the hell am I? Am I just what other people are saying? Like, it's like other people let him be. Other people kind of played with his emotion, but he let that happen. Other people decided to tell him what he was, and he listened, and that's why he became that thing. And in his life, he never got to actually know what he actually was, what he actually could be if he listened to himself, you know? So, I don't know, yeah. So he looked at himself in the mirror and he thought to himself, like, which one am I more close to, you know? Because I've been doing magic stuff for 5 years, but like, I kind of only did the things that people were impressed of, you know? And he wonders and he doesn't get an answer, basically. You know? Maybe in the rest of his life he will, but, you know, he just never could. In this story, like, Carl kind of like, the reason why he was doing this was because he was chasing money. In real life, we don't even chase anything. We're just being what people say to us. If a person says, wow, you're so funny, suddenly we try and be more funny because we're like, oh, that must be my talent. That must be what I am, you know? Just subconsciously, we do that a lot. And yeah, it's like a roller coaster, but like you give permission to people to put you in that roller coaster. You know, you have to get into the roller coaster for it to affect you, but most of us actually do get into the roller coaster for no reason. Maybe it's because if we don't get onto the roller coaster, you know, in the roller coaster, at least we get to be something. Outside of the roller coaster, it's like so many options. It's like a wide space. You just walk and walk and walk until. So it's like you have to earn. It's much harder to find yourself without people's little hints, you know. So you choose to get onto the roller coaster of, you know, people's suggestions, just listening to the people's suggestions, people's way of seeing you. and you will get a lot, you will get hyped up, you will get sad sometimes, but at the end you will get very dizzy, and I don't think it will help you. I mean, you will get to be certain things in certain parts of your life, but at the end of the roller coaster, you again just are nothing. You again are the same as how you started. So maybe don't get onto the roller coaster, maybe start walking and far away from the roller coaster. There's nothing, there's just blank space, but you're just walking. And find yourself, become something, not what people are saying. You can tell yourself, when you tell yourself, it comes from the depths of you. When other people are saying it to you, it's like they're just looking at your shell, basically. you know that's why Carl kind of did a bad job in the fact that he couldn't find himself, but then he did make a lot of money, so I guess Carl he didn't really lose that much. But I guess us people who just listen to other people for no reason, like Carl did it for money, we're just doing it for no reason. We're just putting ourselves on a roller coaster and we will get dizzy. Yeah.